entirely free and enjoy more of what the world has to offer in this action one, because this is where most human beings screw the pooch.
So a little one-person trampoline, very,
I screen shared it. Like, there's no excuse. Like, phone numbers are just out there. You just got to pick up the phone, smile, and dial. So. Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk to Taryn Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. Good morning, and thanks for tuning into this morning's episode 252, stacking them up. And today we're going to be talking about decision fatigue. Decision fatigue has been something that ever since I've gotten more into the entrepreneurial world, the space with a couple businesses, trying to run around and make all this stuff work, I've noticed that making too many decisions, as I'm sure a lot of other people can really relate to this in their own day-to-day lives, making too many decisions leads to bad decisions. So today we're going to be talking about things to watch out for, 5 major reasons to avoid decision fatigue. What are some examples, some real life examples that I apply, that I'm trying to apply more often for myself for decision fatigue, and see if we can be very helpful with this. So let's go ahead and we're just going to kind of run through these points. So I'm going to go ahead and get up on the chalkboard. Good morning, everyone. Today we're talking about decision fatigue. This is when you have to make too many decisions to the point that it reduces the quality and creates a mental strain on our ability to make effective decisions, good ones that we actually want to do. Okay, number 1. Reduce quality. Reduce quality of decisions comes from my decision fatigue. So these are all byproducts of decision fatigue. So kind of keep these in the mind. It's like, okay, how does this relate to me? Where do I go wrong with each one of these points? Again, sitting in your situation, trying to think on your own end. I'm going to give some personal examples from me as we go throughout, but it'll be ultimately up to you to see where you are doing this and where you are making these types of decisions. Number 1, reduce quality. It's like hard to make Q's in cursive. I got to work on that. Either way, that's a Q. Quality, reduce quality. So you see this a lot of times when people have a lot going on throughout the day, and then by the end of the day, they just say, fuck it. Not worth it. Don't care. I've done enough. Oh, that's okay. I don't need to live in alignment with my values anymore today. Be very careful of this, because these are the moments that we usually want to be most resilient. And by having something, so we'll go to our first example. What would be a first example? I think this is probably one of the biggest ones, is meal prep. I think a huge reason why our country is so overweight, aside from the fact that we live in the greatest powerhouse in the world and we have abundant resources, that aside, I think people get reduced quality in their decision making to the point to where at the end of the day, they just say, fuck it. And then we go over here and then meal prep. If we just meal prepped throughout the day, then by the time the day came to a close, then we could be able to just go ahead and go straight and eat to the meal. Versus after you've had a hard day, that's when a lot of people turn to eating. Eating is one of the toughest. Like when you're quitting smoking, you can like quit it and you can quit it forever. But when you have bad eating habits, and then you just have to continue to eat as an individual, but you have to be very conscious and aware of the types of foods that we're eating. So our first recommendation is for avoiding decision fatigue, planning out what it is you want to eat. My girlfriend's been helping me do this and helping us do this for dinners and stuff like that. and it's made our we've just made a lot healthier choices, and it's just not as much talking back and forth of what do I eat today? What do I eat today? So avoiding decision fatigue that way. Talking about decision fatigue. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. And we're talking about meal prepping being an outlet for that. Number 2. Okay. Limited mental capacity. Limited capacity. And what I mean by this one is we can only take on so much. Our brains are not wired to take in just millions and millions of different stories, examples. So I don't think our brains evolved to have any idea of what we're going to be taking on with like social media, with the news, with just the world being connected in general. I think we're getting so flooded with opportunities and decisions that it's starting to do just that, reduce our quality and reduce our capacity. People are just getting run. I know personally, if I look at my cell phone too much, I feel like bogged down. It's like, holy crap, my brain is starting to like fog over, or I just feel like edgy and irritated. I don't know if you can relate to that, but limited capacity, understanding that our brains can only take on so much. And one thing that I really like to help combat this, to have another example, would be planning working out. Like you should know, I don't like the word should, but you can easily plan out what it is. Now online, there's millions of workouts online, YouTube University. You can talk to a personal trainer. You can hire a coach. You can just do an initial consultation. But figuring out a working out schedule is probably pretty key to success. And I think it's really helped with my ability to handle a large capacity. So I'll be working. I'll take a break. I'm that type of person. I don't bring my cell phone with me. I try not to bring my cell phone with me into the gym, and I just go in there, turn off, do that, and that's helped me quite a bit. But just planning that ahead of time has helped with decision fatigue. So that's the second example that I wanted to give out. So planning your workouts ahead are pretty helpful with kind of just reducing the capacity that we're taking on and just giving ourselves a break. Or maybe it's not working out. You're just trying to figure out, how can I implement a break in between doing this and doing this to try and reduce how many decisions I'm making constantly throughout the day. Tip number 3. Number 3 to avoid is increased risk taking. Taking risk. So it's like, okay, what do you mean by taking risk with decision and fatigue? Over here I had in my notes, I had a more eloquent way to say this. Increased risk taking, decision fatigue leads people to take more risk when they normally would, potentially resulting in negative consequences. So if you come to the point to where you're tired and you stop caring as much, what could that lead to? That could lead to, well, it doesn't really matter anyway. I'm going to go ahead and do this. So you can see how we can be a lot more willing to take on risky behavior when we start to get bogged down, when our capacity is reached and we feel overwhelmed and our quality starts to tank. You can see how these are starting to add together. Increased risk taking. Next one, lower willpower. This one I think is probably the most prevalent one out of all of them. Lower willpower. Lower willpower. And this is, I don't know about you, but this is definitely when it comes to eating out on bad foods, staying up late, watching too much Netflix. Once my decision fatigue kicks in, willpower plummets. So being very careful and asking yourself, is it certain days of the week? Is it certain times of the day? Is it after you do certain things? trying to look for patterns. If we can look for any type of patterns when our willpower drops, and then try and make a real game plan, ask ourselves, okay, am I okay with that one? I'm not saying you can't ever eat out again and not enjoy and have a good, happy, fulfilling, healthy life. What I am saying, though, is that looking for patterns is very helpful because certain people struggle with certain things. And if you struggle with, say, eating something healthy at the end of the day because you're tired and you don't care anymore, well, then you should probably really focus on meal prep and making sure that you have something healthy to put in your body. But just looking for patterns, you're the only version of you. You're the only version of you that there will ever be. So just better trying to understand yourself and looking for patterns is usually best practice because some people are morning people. Some people are evening people. Some people eat, they start off great and they finish terribly. Or they start terribly and they finish strong. So be honest with yourself, kind of see where you fit with this with the willpower and try and combat around that. Okay, so let's go on to point number 5. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Negative impact on productivity. So I'm just going to put productivity down. Productivity decreases. The best thing I like to help combat with this one as my productivity goes down is having a work schedule. Having a work schedule just laid out what it is I need to do in my own entrepreneurial efforts. For me, what I've noticed is that when I don't know what to do next, I tend not to do anything, and this is bad. So when it comes to prospecting is by far, I think, the hardest thing about being in business and being in the business that I'm in for my own personal situation. I struggle the most with prospecting. That's just reaching out to people and trying to get them to do my 6-week one-on-one coaching course, or that's trying to build new relationships in general. So reaching out to me is hard for me personally. So I have to really embed that into my work schedule. So I don't have to think like, oh, maybe I could do this, or, oh, maybe I could do this. The decision is already made ahead of time, and planning your week out can be very helpful for this. Say, if you have some flexibility in your work schedule. So planning out your week ahead, I like to do stuff on like Saturdays, Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, so I can actually just get some real creative work done on Sundays. That's how I like to rock and roll. I'm not saying you got to work every day of the week for the rest of your life, but a little bit of planning ahead of time can be really helpful for creating that work schedule, just so you can avoid decision fatigue and you can make higher quality decisions once you really know what it is. So you can have the capacity, have the good willpower, and increase productivity. But yeah, decision fatigue will drive down productivity pretty terribly if we're making all of our decisions in the moment to moment and being very careful of that. So what is one more example of things that you could do to avoid decision fatigue? I would say clothing. I'd say clothing. Let's go ahead and get back to the major banner. So again, these are examples that you can do to avoid decision fatigue. Number 1, you can meal prep yourself so you can avoid eating bad, unhealthy foods. Number 2, plan your week, your workouts in advance. Number 3, work schedule. Really figure out the work schedule that you want to do and try and reduce as many decisions as you can. And clothing. For example, you can kind of see that I'm in all black today and kind of matched with decision fatigue. There's a lot of people, Andrew Huberman, shout out to that guy. He's one of the best on YouTube. He wears black pretty much like all day, every day, and kind of just reduces decision fatigue. And if you could just set out your clothes the night before, you could probably save yourself a lot of stress and time with that. So these are my tips and tricks to avoid decision fatigue. Improve your quality, improve your capacity. Don't take on bad risks. improve your willpower, and increase your productivity by avoiding decision fatigue. Avoid. So decision fatigue. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that we can continue to improve our decision making, because decisions create results. And when I was doing the reading and the research on this, like the two things that really stuck out to me were like procrastination and impulsivity just totally kill entrepreneurship, kill our ability to be healthy, kill our ability to be present in the moment. So be very careful of those two things, procrastination and impulsivity, and those can be branched out from decision making. So again, hope this was helpful, everyone. If you're looking to work with me directly one-on-one, I offer a 6-week life mapping course where you work with me one-on-one over the 6, what I believe are the 6 most important topics to make sure your life is set in a way that can help you build and grow productivity, happiness, and just having a good plan in place to help you be a better entrepreneur. Thanks, friends. Other than that, you'll see me on the next episode live Wednesday morning with another episode of the Tuck Chair Morning Show at 7 a.m. live. Catch us there. And other than that, I got to run. Tuesday is my busy coaching day, and I have chalk in my eyes. I am sorry. So I'm going to cut out of here, and I'm going to get this chalk out of my eye, and have an amazing, incredible Tuesday, everyone. Love you all. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Cheers, friends. Until next time. Peace out.